Conjuring House is a well-known horror movie that is downright terrifying. But did you know that The Conjuring House is actually based off of a true story? And not only is it based off of a true story and a true real house, you can actually stay at that house. You can stay the night there, you can camp outside of it, and catch your own paranormal entities. So today we're going to be talking all about The Conjuring House, as well as some new and recent drama that happened. Let's go ahead and get started. Hello everyone, my name is Ivy, also known as the Witchypreneur, here on YouTube, and today we're going to be talking all about The Conjuring House. Alright, gather around. Let's talk about a chilling tale that starts off in January 1971. The Perron family had just moved into this really big, nice farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Carolyn, Roger, and their 5 daughters literally thought that they had just received their dream home. But that quickly took a very, very dark turn. It started off innocently enough. Carolyn would notice that the broom would suddenly just disappear and reappear in a different location than where she left it. She'd hear strange noises coming from the kitchen and scraping sounds all over the floor. And she noticed that there would just suddenly be fresh dirt piles right after she just cleaned the floor. Little stuff at first, but then the weirdness escalated. The girls began to see ghosts. At first, the ghosts just were kind of annoying, kind of irritating, but then there were some ghosts that were just downright menacing. Carolyn dug into the house's history, only to find that it had been in the same family for over 8 generations. And many of the family had met very grim fates. Some had drowned in a nearby creek, others were murdered, and a few, yes, I said a few, even hanged themselves in the attic. More than one person. But the worst of them all was Bathsheba, a notorious figure from the mid-1800s that was rumored to be a Satanist. And I'm not talking about like the modern day Satanism. No, I'm talking about your classic like I worship, you know who. She was said to have been involved in a child's though no trial ever followed. She was buried in a cemetery just a stone throws away. Andrea, the oldest daughter, said that Bathsheba saw Carolyn as a rival, and that's when the real terror began. The family started experiencing other spirits, darker, menacing spirits that smelled like rotten fish, and spirits that could literally make the whole bed just float up in the air. Andrea's dad would go down into the basement and would feel a very foul, horrific presence just following behind him. And the basement was just freezing cold all the time. And that's when Ed and Lorraine Warren stepped in. They are very famous paranormal investigators, with Ed Warren pretty much being a self-proclaimed demonologist, and they stepped into the scene. So during one of the seances that Ed and Lorraine Warren held, Carolyn became possessed, and she began speaking in a language that was just not from Earth. Nobody knows what it was, and Andrea remembers talking about it, and she's saying that this was one of the most terrifying moments ever in her life. So obviously, because it's Hollywood, we know that things are not going to link up the way that, you know, Hollywood makes it out to be, and it didn't. So in reality, there was no exorcism that Ed and Lorraine Warren did to any of the family members, and Ed and Lorraine Warren were actually pushed out by Robert for the sake of like his wife's sanity, and they actually stuck it out at the Conjuring House up until the 1980s, when they finally left the house, and then the hauntings just stopped. So that is how the Conjuring House, how it all began, how the hauntings began. Now let's talk about the drama that actually started occurring at the Conjuring House. Okay, so Jacqueline Nunez was lounging around her couch one lazy Saturday morning in 2022, when she did a quick Google search and she realized that the Conjuring House, the famous Conjuring House, is up for sale. So Jacqueline was like, all right, bet. and she made an appointment to go see the house, and she did. As soon as she stepped into the house, she was like, yeah, I'm getting this house. And so she ended up buying the house, and within a week she closed the deal and paid for the Conjuring house at a whopping $1.5 million. After the deal, and the Conjuring house had been, you know, like an attraction for people. So after the deal went through and Jacqueline now owned the house, the staff, they might not have been treated as well as they had expected to be. Brian Dansario was working at the Conjuring house, and I think he'd been working there since 2021, if I'm not mistaken, and he was working in the hot 80-degree weather, and he noticed that when he was working outside that Jacqueline Nunez was kind of like staring off. He could see her through the window, and she's like staring off, staring at nothing. And actually she was staring at something. She was staring at the TV. She was like completely fixated on the TV, even though it wasn't turned on. And she'd just do that for hours. So a few hours later, Dansario, he went up to Jacqueline Nunez at the gift shop, and he just was telling her, he was just talking to her, you know, and then Nunez was furious. And she's like, you stole the money. I know you stole the money. And he's like, what are you talking about? What money? She's like, you stole the money from the gift shop. The ghost told me that you stole the money from the gift shop. And so Brian was like, no, I did not. Like, there is even security cameras. You can check the security cameras if you want. Like, I didn't steal anything from you. And Jacqueline was just not having it, and she like stormed off furious. Later on, he found Jacqueline Nunez standing by the wall, and she's like, she demanded $1,000 to be reimbursed to her. She's like, no, John Arnold's ghost told me that you stole the money and you need to pay me $1,000 right now. And Brian was just like, okay, like, I don't think so, lady. Like, that's not gonna happen. Because John Arnold, he is a famous ghost that like supposedly had passed away in the 1800s, and even Brian has like heard this ghost. You know, it's a famous ghost that supposedly haunts the Conjuring house. And even Brian has heard his footsteps, but he didn't think that John Arnold communicated with anyone like verbally, because I mean, as far as he knows, and as far as all the other staff, they've never communicated with him, so he was just sort of confused. So after that, the situation just quickly spiraled. I mean, Brian was like, lady, I didn't take your money. And in fact, he didn't take her money. In fact, allegedly, Jacqueline Nunez owed Brian over $9,000 in back pay. And she not only was like, oh, now you owe me $3,000, she says that she was physically attacked by Brian, allegedly. And she refused to pay him a cent. She's like, no, I don't owe you any money. You owe me money now. So after that, Brian was like, okay, I'm gonna leave this place. Obviously, you know, she not only fired him on the spot and said like he owes her money now, but like not only that, Nunez is like claiming, you know what, I didn't owe him any money, that's not true, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's entitled to their own experiences. But apparently Brian is saying, again, allegedly, that Nunez started harassing him and texting him these horrible messages weeks after he was fired, claiming him as a thief and a liar, and even quoting something from the Quran that said, oh, thieves and liars. In the Quran it says that thieves and liars will end up dead after 60 days. And so because of this, Brian decided to get a restraining order on her. The drama does not end there though, because someone else got involved in this. Who is it other than Jason Hawes from the very famous TV series that I used to watch growing up, Ghost Hunters. He basically had to file a police report with the police because Nunez started texting him and threatening him and sending him these horrible text messages as well. She even accused him of plotting to assassinate her. This all went down on August 9th. So it all started about a month prior to all these accusations, when Jacqueline Nunez was like saying that Jason Haas had trespassed into her property, and she started posting some videos of some man with a white truck that's like, oh, this is him, this is him. It was later actually proven that it wasn't him. Still, Nunez continued to harass him, sending texts like, "You will someday be prosecuted for your slander and numerous murder attempts on my life." She even claimed, "I'm told that you know of the assassination attempt on me. I will never be defeated or destroyed by any paranormal person." This lady sounds crazy. So what do you guys think is going on in the Conjuring house? Is Jacqueline bonkers? Are the staff making these stories up? Or maybe, just maybe, the owners might be possessed? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Again, everything that I said, allegedly, these are allegations, okay? I'm not saying everything were facts. You can do your own research. I will put the link to all the articles that I found down below as well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell to be notified when I post, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!